Hi everyone. This is going to be a super casual video and a bit of a ridiculous one because we're actually having building work done at the moment. So there is a lot of banging and crashing and loud voices and loud noises in the background. The only reason I still feel fairly comfortable filming this with the builders in is because the builder is my dad and he obviously already knows what's gone on, and I'm pretty sure his employees know as well because they've all been very nicey gentle with me, and I've known them all for a long time, so if they overhear anything I don't mind, but I don't think they will anyway. But yeah, so I'm sorry if there's lots of noises in the background, but Will has gone out for the morning. He's had to go into the office this morning, and I just felt really drawn to the camera and sitting down and talking about this because I want to document it, and I think it's quite therapeutic. Sometimes it's difficult to talk to an actual person because they try to fix it or offer solutions or say things that they think will help you feel better, and it doesn't. And also it's quite difficult to talk to family and friends sometimes because they are upset as well, so I don't want to ruin their day by bringing it up even if I need to talk about it. So I mean, you've already seen from the title, but unfortunately I am going through a miscarriage right now. It all happened on Monday and it's now Friday, so this is very raw and fresh for me right now. But I really am a talker and I want to talk about it, and I feel like some of you guys have followed my channel and followed my life for so long. Like, some of you have been here since the very beginning when I was like 16, 17, and I know that many of you wouldn't want me to just go on and pretend like nothing's happened, and I'm not one of those people anyway. I can never just go on and pretend that nothing's happened if something bad has happened. So I just felt like I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to let you guys know what's going on, and I didn't want to just brush it under the carpet because I don't know when I'm going to feel okay about like vlogging normally again. And I took a little break for a couple of weeks just recently, and people noticed that I was gone and were really glad when I posted again. So I don't want to just disappear again and have you guys worrying about me. A lot of you were worried that my Crohn's was playing up, which thankfully, touch wood, right now it's not. But I just wanted to tell you the story of what's happened over the last couple of weeks, really. And I'm really going to try not to cry the whole way through. It was sort of like a switch flipped after we got married and we both just really wanted a family. And so we decided to just start trying, and it took a month or so for things to go back to normal after coming off hormonal contraception. But after that I fell pregnant straight away, and we were really surprised. We couldn't believe it. I mean, with my health issues, I've obviously always worried that I might have trouble conceiving, but I didn't. It happened really quickly and we were so grateful and so excited. I actually filmed me finding out I was pregnant, and I filmed myself telling Will as well, and I think I've decided that I am going to put that footage at the end of this video because I really hate the thought of just deleting it or it just being lost on my hard drive forevermore, because we were so excited, and I feel like it's almost proof that it all happened. It's proof that it was real and it isn't just something that my brain made up. I don't know, I was so excited to share it with you, and basically it's going to be at the end of the video. You don't have to watch it if you don't want to, because it is sad knowing what happened afterwards, but I was so excited to share it, and I feel like it should be shared because one day I will want to look back and see how excited and joyful we were, because we were, and it was special. So yeah, we I found out I was pregnant at exactly 4 weeks, and obviously that's really early unless you're like actively trying and tracking everything. Most women don't find out they're pregnant that early, but because we were trying, I found out early because my period was late, and I just felt different. I felt like I could be pregnant. So I took a test and it was positive. I took it when Will was out of the house. I took it at 7 o'clock at night, so it was quite a faint positive. You're meant to, when you're really early, you're meant to take them in the morning. But it was a faint positive, but it was there. And then I didn't tell Will because I wanted to have it like properly confirmed. So the next morning I took another test and that was positive. So after I'd done my lessons for the morning, I snuck out and told Will I was going to go get bread, and I actually got a digital pregnancy test and some more of the dye tests. Came home, took the digital, it was positive, and then I set up a little surprise for Will and told him. And we were just so excited. And then literally 2 days later, I had a little bit of like very light bleeding. And so I went to the hospital and had a blood test, and they said that everything was fine. It was very common. They don't like to say it's normal to bleed during pregnancy, but it's very common. Around a quarter of women experience some sort of spotting or bleeding when they're in their first trimester, so it's very common. So they tried to set my mind at ease and did a blood test, and they test the level of pregnancy hormone in your blood. So that was on a Saturday, and on the Monday I called the GP and asked for the results, and he told me, and I'm not going to tell you what the results were because I don't want other pregnant women to watch this and listen to the numbers and think that there's something wrong with them, because everyone is different. But to me, the number sounded quite low. Just on having done my own research, the number sounded quite low, and from that moment I just felt like something was wrong, because I'd had the little bit of bleeding, and then my hormone level was a lot lower than I was expecting, and my GP was adamant that everything was fine. He said that the number doesn't matter as long as it's continuing to double every 2 or 3 days. But they were so convinced that it was fine that they didn't even want me to have another blood test in a couple of days. So I tried to just get on with it, but I knew that something was wrong, and I was even having dreams about it. Like I had a dream that I'd had the baby and the baby was still at the hospital, and I couldn't get back to the hospital, I couldn't get to the baby. Every time I tried to go to the hospital, something was happening, and I was just getting further and further away. And I feel like that was almost my brain's way of telling me that something was wrong. About 4 or 5 days went by after I'd had the bleeding, and I started to feel a bit more positive again, because I hadn't had any signs that things were wrong. I'd had some mild symptoms, so I thought, you know, maybe things had worked themselves out, maybe it was okay. And exactly a week after the bleeding had started the first time, it started again. And it wasn't loads, so I just again thought, you know, it's common, it's probably fine, it will tail off like it did last time, but it didn't. And on Monday morning, when I woke up, I had some sort of mild cramps, and the pregnancy was over basically. And I just, like I said, I don't want this to be a really long video, but I just can't describe the despair that you feel. The only people who understand are the people who've been through it, and thankfully I do have people in my life who have been through it. And I say thankfully, not because I'm grateful it happened to them, I wish this never happened to anybody, but I'm grateful that I have them, because if I didn't know anyone who had been through this, I don't know how I would get through it. I don't know how people get through this. I don't know how people survive this, because I really don't want to get into like a full-blown crying session, because I literally have not stopped crying for the past 5 days, but this is the worst heartbreak I've ever felt in my whole entire life. everything I've been through, and you guys know because I've shared so much of my life with you, everything I've been through, especially the last couple of years, this tops it times a million. I've never felt like this before. The first night after it happened, I couldn't sleep. I was just laying in bed, and I came downstairs to the sofa and I just howled. Like, I have never cried like that before. It's absolutely horrendous, and my experience on the day made it worse, really. It's all just been awful. Like, I feel like it's upset so many people, and nobody even knew I was pregnant, and it's just, the ripple effect of it is just awful. I'm not going to go into detail about my experience at the hospital because honestly it's the most traumatic thing I've ever been through, but I was treated very poorly by the doctor who sort of officially confirmed that I was miscarrying. I was alone the whole time. Will wasn't even allowed to stay with me, so I was alone the entire time until the end, when they tried to do a blood test like 3 times and she couldn't get any blood out of me, and I just don't know why, because blood tests are never normally an issue for me, and I was so distressed by that point that I just said, like, somebody has to be allowed to come and sit with me, otherwise I'm just gonna leave. And they couldn't let me leave in case the pregnancy was ectopic. They were worried it was ectopic because I also had this awful pain across my neck and my shoulders, which turned out to be like tension. I had actually like cricked my neck from the tension being so tense. So they agreed that somebody could come and sit with me. So my mum actually came to be with me because she only lives 2 minutes away from the hospital. That was it, basically. And I just came home and haven't felt the same since. I keep saying I don't want this to be a long video and I'm still rambling on, but I guess I just want to stress upon the fact that this completely changes you as a person. I do not feel like the same person I was this time last week. I feel completely different. I feel forever changed by this, and I really would encourage you, if you've been through it, to talk about it, because I had no idea how bad this was, and I went through a very straightforward loss. My body, touch wood so far, because it's still ongoing, the physical process of a pregnancy loss is ongoing for weeks afterwards, which I think also a lot of people don't know. They think a miscarriage happens and that's it, and that's not the case. My body dealt with it on its own, is dealing with it on its own. I didn't need medication or surgical intervention or anything like that. So I can't even imagine how awful it is for women who have an even more difficult time than this, or a later stage loss, or anything like that. As a woman, and even for Will as well, because I can't stress how devastated Will is by this too. As soon as you see 2 lines on a pregnancy test, or you see that word pregnant, you're a parent and you make plans and you pick names, and we feel like we already knew what the baby was. Both of us had a really strong feeling about what sex the baby was without even talking to each other about it. And you know, you make plans. We had already planned the entirety of next year around the fact that I was pregnant and that by this time next year we would have a little baby. And it's heartbreaking. Like I said, I've never felt pain like this, and I wish women talked about it more and felt able to talk about it, because it's such, even when you're surrounded by loving, supportive people, and I am, it's such a lonely experience. I just feel like a ship like lost at sea or something. That's how I feel at the moment. I can't focus on anything, I can't do anything. I've basically just been sat in my living room just staring at the walls. I can't even like watch TV or YouTube or anything, like, and the worst part is that you just see babies everywhere. Like, pregnancy and babies are everywhere when you've gone through a loss. I had to go back to the hospital on Wednesday morning for a blood test to confirm that my hormone levels were all sort of heading back towards 0. and I had to go back to the place where it all happened, and it was so traumatic. Again, I had to go on my own, and it was just so traumatic, and it's in the maternity department, so it's just full of pregnant ladies and babies and people taking their babies home. This is honestly the worst thing I've ever been through, and for it to have happened right on top of Christmas as well, because we had planned to tell everyone at Christmas. I was going to tell my parents on Sunday because it's my mum's birthday, so I was going to surprise her and my dad on Sunday, and then I was going to tell my brothers and my brother's fiance at Christmas. And I had wrapped up baby grows. They were under the tree ready to give to them, and my bedside table is full of positive pregnancy tests, and I had the app on my phone sending me notifications even after I'd had the miscarriage, and I'd tried to delete the app and like reset it all, and I'd forgotten one, and so I got a notification that the baby was the size of a raspberry, and it wasn't, because there was no baby anymore. And it's just all these little things afterwards, these ripple effects that you just don't think of. Well, I'm glad I got through this video without completely having a breakdown anyway, but before I go into the footage of when we found out, I just wanted to say, like, there are some things that people have said to me during this process that are meant to be comforting but aren't. So in the comments, please don't write things like, at least you know you can conceive, at least you felt pregnant quickly, these things happen for a reason, there's normally something wrong with the baby. Please don't write stuff like that, because people can tell you that till they're blue in the face, but it doesn't help and it doesn't lessen the pain. And I think you can only really understand that if you've been through it. Obviously we're so grateful that we fell pregnant quickly, but it doesn't mean it will happen again. And a couple of times during this I've felt kind of like, what's the point in falling pregnant if you can't stay pregnant? And I worry that it will just keep happening, and they don't investigate recurrent miscarriages until you've had 3, and I can't go through this again. Will we try again? Probably. I don't know when. Right now it's a terrifying thought, but yeah, please just don't write stuff like that in the comments, because it's just not helpful. I know it comes from a very good place, but it just doesn't make me feel any better. So yeah, so I'm sorry for ruining your day with such a sad video, but I just felt like I wanted to let you guys know what was going on, because I can't pretend that everything's fine. I can't, I don't know whether I'll be filming again just yet. I want to film some of the kitchen renovations, so maybe I'll just film bits and bobs of that, and then maybe that video will go up at some point. But yeah, I don't know, I just wanted you guys to know what was going on, and I think selfishly I'm sort of seeking all of the support and love that I can get right now, and I know that you guys don't let me down in that department. So yeah, so I'm going to end the video by popping in the footage of when we found out that we were having a baby, because like I said, I kind of want to honour the memory and the experience, because it did happen, it was real, there was a baby for a little while, and I just think it's nice footage, so here we go. I am at Sainsbury's car park at the moment. I'm at Sainsbury's in the car park. You'll have seen from the footage this morning that I took another pregnancy test this morning. It was the same kind of test. It was the second one in the packet, and that was also positive. The line was darker than yesterday, I think. I still haven't told Will, because I want to see the word pregnant in front of me, so I'm about to get a digital test. I told him that I came out to get bread. I am going to get bread, but I just feel like sick with nerves today. could you help me get something? I just need to get something from the wardrobe.
You pregnant?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I really am. I literally just went to get a digital test. I'm shaking so bad. It's no wonder I've been feeling so crap this week.
It's no wonder there was no on flow. I did wonder when.
Oh, I'm shaking so bad. Are you happy?
I am.
That was last night. See, that line's a little bit dodgy.
No, yeah.
And then it was a bit clearer this morning.
But which line am I meant to be looking at?
The one going down the middle.
Right.
And then it was a bit clearer this morning. And then I took a digital because I just felt like I couldn't trust these.